Hey, this is Hot Rod at Transformers Ireland Online, doing a review of the Transformers Universe Vector Prime. Obviously, this color scheme it is a repaint of the original Vector Prime. The color scheme is radically different. This one's much darker, whereas the Cybertron version or even the Galaxy Force version were much kind of more good guy looking. Um, this one, I don't really know much about it, but this one is supposed to be based. I guess the color scheme is based off the Lost Autobot, which I think was in the last Autobot, who was in the Marvel comics. Um, Color scheme wise, it's mostly black. Black is the kind of predominant color across the body, as you can see there. He's got some silver paint here around the cockpit, silver paint along the back here, and along the main body. Um, the actual window is kind of it's a kind of a metallic brown, I guess, a very dark brown. The brown that's on it isn't as bad as the Hasbro pictures would lead you to believe. It was kind of the Hasbro one was more tan. Um, when you actually have it in person, it's a kind of a more chocolatey brown. He's also got some kind of electric blue here, a little panel just on the cockpit there, and on this part here, which will end up becoming the shoulder joints. Also along the back there, and then kind of the rest is more or less well hidden. That's really it as far as the colour scheme goes. He does have this kind of orangey translucent missile on the end. Safeguard sits here, just above the cockpit, as it did with the previous release, and he's kind of got a little bit of grey on him in this mode, but is pretty much just the same kind of brown as the rest of the figure. As you can probably see there, I've actually got a Decepticon logo on top, which I'll get to at the end, although I'd say anyone who's on the forum will know why it's there. And that's kind of it. It's a great kind of vehicle mode. It's a bit weird looking. It looks great here, and it looks great on the wings. The body of it, we can rotate that back just there. It's kind of a big chunky block. I don't know if he's supposed to be an attack fighter or some kind of transport or something like that. But it's a pretty cool vehicle mode, very Cybertronian looking, and it's littered with detail. Although in the black, it's not sure if some of this is coming up. There's a lot of paneling here that's got a lot of detail on it, different kind of grooves and stuff, and up along these kind of armatures here where the wings are mounted. It kind of has a feel of clockwork about it to kind of, I guess, represent how old he is. But it's a good toy. It's got some weight to it, and it does look very good. I'm just going to compare it to the Cybertron version, which I have here. So there we have him next to the Cybertron version. As you can see, the colour schemes are very different. Vector Prime from Cybertron is white. He's got gold paneling and kind of a metallic blue paneling there. This is more of a burgundy kind of brown, maybe just darker than burgundy. And there's a lot of gold, whereas on this it's more silver on the detailing on certain panels. There's not really. I mean, they're both really kind of cool looking anyway. This one actually has more This is the translucent paneling here on the wings, whereas I said this is a bit more similar to the Galaxy Force version with the actual detailing to kind of bring out the wings a bit more. And that's really it. I'll show you a comparison of the robots at the moment. Okay, so there the two of them are transformed. Let's just bring them more into the centre. Obviously you can see there are immense differences in the colour scheme, but it's kind of the same thing has followed over from the vehicle mode, because it's not terribly well hidden. The only thing that's really hidden is the head, when the nose of the actual vehicle, which is on the back, kind of hides it. Everything else is just sort of joined on. It doesn't kind of fold into anything. It's just there. You can kind of clearly see it if you look hard enough when it's in vehicle mode. Safeguard mounts onto either forearm as a kind of a cannon, which is why I kind of go for the whole, it's a target master type of thing. And as you can see, Vector Prime here on this side is holding a sword. The sword is stored in the side of the cockpit here, and it just pops out and then goes into any hand. The only issue I ever had with the original Cybertron Vector Prime was that the sword was made of rubber. And if you see there, because it was made of rubber and because of how it slots in and the way it was packaged, there's actually kinks in the sword. To the best of my knowledge, the Galaxy Force version is a hard plastic sword, which I guess to comply with safety laws, we don't get that over here, because our toy scheme tends to follow the American toy scheme of using rubber parts and orange caps and things like that. Overall, really, that's as far as the kind of comparison goes. I can't really say which colour scheme is better because I like both so much. This works great as an Autobot, which is why I have him as Vector Prime with my Universe line, and this works great as a Decepticon, and I've renamed him and given him a Decepticon logo and put him in my Universe line as well. But I'll get to that obviously in a moment. So I'm just going to take this guy out and show you a little bit about this chap. So as you can see, it's still the kind of same blacks and browns. A little bit more blue is added for the feet, the chest piece. This is more at the front and on some hinges and things like that. Other than that, the only really new colour that is added is his eyes are green. Everything is more the same. Whereas the sword on Vector Prime from Cybertron was translucent blue, this sword is solid silver with a black hilt. I think it looks a bit better. And then obviously Safeguard sits on his forearm, making him a target master. Posability wise, you've got posability in the arms. They can obviously move up and bend at the elbows. The head moves left and right, but it's not on a ball joint. The arms can rotate in and out, and the legs can move in and out like so. And these two panels come forward to allow you to basically do things with the legs there. You can pose them pretty well. The nose at the back makes him back heavy, so you're kind of limited to a degree. But you can pose you can do some really cool poses with him. Sometimes he won't stand too well by himself. I use him as Blackjack. My wife named him Blackjack when I was trying to think of a name for him. And because I'm a huge Trigger Happy fan, I decided to name the Minicon Trigger Happy. So I see him as kind of an evil version of Vector Prime, you know. Underneath the Decepticon logo is a silver tampoed Autobot logo, which kind of looks a bit cracked or broken because of the detailing that's there on that part. I considered whether to leave it or not, but it looks better with the Decepticon logo on it. He does come with a Cybertron key. I was using my Cybertron key for some other reviews. I couldn't find it in time to do this review. It is basically the exact same as this key, except that it's the same chocolate brown kind of colour as his legs and what's on his body. It doesn't really make a difference that this is on him. When they were putting this into production, Vector Prime has electronics. I don't have batteries in him, so I don't know what they are. But the original one from Cybertron has the electronics. When they were releasing this guy, they announced that they'd be taking the electronics out to bring down the price point on it. Why the key is there is purely cosmetic, because it doesn't do anything for him. I guess it's handy to have a spare key. It doesn't look too good. I mean, obviously this is the blue one, but even when you have the actual one that matches the colour scheme, it doesn't look too good in there. It doesn't lock into place. It's really, really wobbly. So I think this looks great right there. It kind of looks like that's his spark chamber. So I just leave his key out. I use it for, I guess, when I'm doing reviews. But overall, he's a great figure. There's no real kibble to speak of apart from this on the back, and this just kind of adds to the kind of cloak effect that he's got going on anyway. Not perfect, but he's definitely a 4 out of a 5. He's a great addition to any collection. Alright, thanks, bye.